Well, before we get to the top 10 at 10, joining us right now from his award-winning morning show in Houston, Texas, our good friend and yours, Sean Salisbury. Good morning, Sean.
How you guys doing today?
Good, buddy.
Great.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Now, forgive me. I follow you on Twitter, and I should know this, so I'm going to embarrass myself publicly, which is nothing new. Are you in Houston or are you in Phoenix?
No, we're in Houston.
Okay.
We're not, because of the early time change for us, and the guests. It's pretty empty on Radio Row early when we're on the air. As you guys know, out there it's different. But so we're just doing it from Houston, which is okay. So we'll still get guests, but we're doing it from our studios here. So we're not doing Radio Row this year.
Sean, and we were just talking about this. That's why I bring it up. And I know I don't want to get too inside baseball here, but is it just us, or is his Radio Row kind of we were there last year. I know we've seen each other there before, but I was just saying I'm kind of glad we're not there. It just doesn't seem the same.
I would agree. I think it's, I don't want to say lost value, but it is, the energy has changed a little bit. And I don't know when or why that happened, because I think back to some and it's like, man, that it kind of got you pumped up for the week. But, maybe it's the finances at less stations are going, so it seems more empty. Maybe you get to the point where when you're doing a show, because you guys do a quality show, I like to too, that, with guests coming in and out, it's not the same sound, and it kind of it's more rigid. And listen, if you got a Pat McAfee set or Dad Patrick, it's easy. You're off the Radio Row, they bring guests to you and the rest of it. So while I like it, it's great for somebody who hasn't been, but if your team's not there, the time doesn't work. I just think the show sounds better in your own studio. And energy-wise, I'm with you. There has been something missing, and maybe it's just our perception, but there are times when it's rocking and rolling, and there's sometimes when it feels too spread out for me. I kind of like more quaint and cozy, and I think that brings more energy.
Sean, as we talk to Sean Salisbury, all guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Sean, we are also just discussing here in Sacramento, we're in a unique spot where the Kings have become relevant, something that hasn't happened in a decade and a half. So the Super Bowl, though, is great. It's two number one seeds, and maybe part of it is the Niners being out of it that doesn't, at the moment, have the typical type of buzz. So my question to you, I guess, is what's it like in Houston right now? You guys get a new head coach. Is the Super Bowl still the number one topic, or where's it landing right now for you guys on your radar?
Well, I think it's kind of part and parcel, because we hire a new coach. The Super Bowl is what everybody aspires to be at. You're bringing a guy DeMeco Ryans, who was a quarterback possibly away from competing and having a chance to go to it. So football, because it's him and they're putting their staff together, I think that's the biggest topic for us is, who is he going to hire as his coordinators? Is he going to get, Bobby Slowick? And what's he going to do? Is Kubiak's son going to come here? So we're trying to figure out what kind of system they're doing. So that kind of leads into Super Bowl talk. But I'll be honest with you, we probably hit an hour of Super Bowl talk and prop bets and matchups, which we try to break down different personnel groupings every day, but it wasn't the center focus. The truth is, in this town, people are already starting to talk Astros. Wow. Honest to God, they are, because World Series champs, they expect them to be just as good. They got Abreu in the offseason. So, it's Super Bowl because it's football, and they're doing what we aspire here, and they haven't come close in a long time. So I think there's excitement for football-wise, so it's the natural talk. But, hell, we spent as much time talking about how bad the Rockets defense has been all year, and would Kelvin Sampson be willing to let his son be the head coach for the Cougars and come coach the Rockets at some point in time? So the Cougars probably get the second amount of talk, because college basketball, the Final Four is here, and everybody here loves what Kelvin Sampson's doing. But it's Super Bowl, so we talk it for sure.
I'm guessing, as Sean Salisbury joins us, the Sean Salisbury Show didn't spend too much time this morning on Rockets and my Sacramento Kings from last night.
Well, I went on and we talked about it. And our buddy Grant had asked me yesterday in a show. He said, Sean, give us just a thumbnail sketch of, what we're going to see, because I know they're playing back-to-backers with them. And I said, well, you're going to see a lot of young kids who are talented on the offensive end and a little bit immature, but you're going to see a team that may give up 130 to 150 points. And I'll be damned, they gave up 140. I said, they have no commitment. So, and I know your guys, Sacramento Kings, who have had a hell of a season, the last 4 or 5 games have struggled a bit, but they got right last night. And And I told him, I said, it's a good team to get right against because defense to them is the equivalent of like a bad tasting food to somebody. It's like, we don't like to do that. So there will be changes at some point, but they're young and immature. But we actually spent a significant amount of time because people are frustrated with the lack of defense and how embarrassing it's been.
So, Sean, for the game this weekend, who you picking? Who do you like?
You know what? I think that the Eagles are the most complete team in the league. I think they have been all year. I'm sorry. I go with, okay, not all the strengths. I think those are obvious. I'm saying, okay, where do we find on either team a matchup situation that you could possibly exploit? I don't think the stage is going to be too big for Jalen Hurts at all. I think that he is as poised as you'll have for a kid who's never been in this situation. I think Mahomes is the deciding factor, but keep an eye on a couple things real quick. Is Pacheco in the run game? They sell out to the pass to sack the quarterback, and they led the league. If they don't stay in their lane, in the rush lane, Philadelphia, Pacheco may be that hidden hero in the game. And then the other side of it is, if you're going to blitz either quarterback, you better not miss with the first guy because they're both in different ways, can kill you after the first guy misses. And keep an eye on the secondary. If the pass rush for Philly does not get to Mahomes and they play some man coverage, can their secondary hold up with the football in Mahomes' hand? And then there's always the Kelsey thing. While I think, part of me says Philly, I'm going to take Andy Reid. I think this is a late drive, like a 27-23 type win where it's 23-20. Mahomes takes them down at the end and scores. I really don't care who wins. I'm just going to go with the guy who's been there, and I think Mahomes is the best player in the world, so why not choose that guy?
Last thing for you, Sean, in football, but not Super Bowl, but obviously a team that wants to get back there, and a guy who's been there and then some, Sean Payton, over to the Denver Broncos. He had his presser yesterday. The big thing everyone took out of that was him saying, yeah, Russ is a quarterback's coach, isn't going to be in the building. They put out a number today. He's going to be the number 2 highest paid coach in United States sports. He's going to be $2 million behind Belichick, and he's going to be $3 million ahead of Pete Carroll at $18 million. Is Sean Payton? I don't know how to ask you, Sean. I don't want to put you in a bad spot. Sean Payton worth $18 million? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He's got a Super Bowl ring. I'll ask you this: is Daniel Jones, whose asking price is over $30 million, worth $35 million a year?
No.
But if he gets it, he's worth it, right? I won't say you're worth it. You can negotiate. Considering what we're paying guys who play backup, or who impacted for 60 plays in a game, think about not superstars. Think about how much the impact if he hits it right and they do right. And he's on a good team. They got to get the quarterback right. What $18 million? You'd be like, well, of course he's worth that. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. But it's all timing. It's like a lot of times the highest paid player at his position isn't the best. It's just he came out at the right time. And Lamar Jackson, listen, Joe Burrow's going to make $50 million a year. When his contract comes up, it's going to be anywhere from 48 to 53. And you say, well, hasn't won one, but he's been close. So, yeah, I think when it comes to the coach and the control he has over the entire team, he's worth it until he proves he's not now. He's got his chores out there with Russ, and he should not let Russ, his private quarterback coach, in the building. He's not under contract, and we don't employ him. Deal with him outside of it. I love that Sean Payton put that down and put his foot on that right away. Russ has got to play better. If he does, they'll be dangerous because Sean Payton knows how to coach.
That's Sean Salisbury each and every morning in Houston doing his award-winning show and joining us each and every week. In fact, looking forward to breaking down football with you next week and then onwards and upwards as we get into the basketball playoffs and baseball hitting big in Houston. And, of course, we've got the A's out here, don't forget. So appreciate you, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Oh, my God.